Ow! No, you're not stuck on yesterday's episode. That's for you East Coasters. We got to get ours in too, right? Because the full moon in the eastern time zone of the United States happened at 12:34 this morning. Hi, everybody. Thomas Miller on the Fun Astrology Podcast for Thursday, April 6th. Thanks for joining us. We covered the full moon mostly yesterday. We talked about Jupiter being in the applying conjunction that is exact next Tuesday. Jupiter is at the party. There is an expansion theme around this full moon. We also talked about the other thing that was at the table with the sun yesterday was Chiron conjoining the sun last night. So it brings this potential for stuff from our wounded past to come up under this full moon. But then I had a great listener question that was asking, so what do we do if...
My Chiron is in my second house, but it was in retrograde in my natal chart. So how would that, if at all, impact my wounded healing process? Thanks.
Thank you. And we share something because mine is too. I am a retrograde Aquarian Chiron in the 8th house in equal, in the 9th house in whole sign. So think about this for a minute. What would you do? What would you tell this person about her retrograde and me about our retrograde Chirons? Well, I think the first thing we always would do is go to the cookbook, right? I mean, we have to start there. So we would say that with a retrograde Chiron, the wounds are maybe more internalized. Well, isn't that Chiron anyway? I mean, these are these wounds that stay with us and don't go away. So as I was reflecting on this, I thought about that, and I thought, well, but that's Chiron anyway. Then you might say, well, it's about the rewords. Review, revive, reconstruct, revisit, reconcile, recurring. How about recurring? That might fit. Or release. And that brought me back again to, yeah, but isn't that Chiron anyway, right? It's all about this very internal, very personal, not about outward, it's about inward. That's Chiron. Remember, after the foot injury, Chiron retreated, there's your R word, to the cave. Your Chiron wound is not something you want to talk about in social circles. You don't want to blab about it on your social media, and it's something that you go into your closet and you deal with. So the common ground of all of us with Chiron in our charts is that we all have these internal wounds, wound or wounds. We also all have a choice as to what we're going to do about it. I remember Steve Forrest, this was one of his that he kind of has some categories of things in the chart that say, oh, you're going to have the wound. It's just a matter of whether the wound continues to fester. That's not an exact quote, but it's close. I don't have anything with Chiron to compare it to, so I've gone back and reflected on these areas that Chiron has shown up in my own life. There's not much that I was able to find on it. I don't personally have any books on Chiron, and the things that addressed it didn't address it to my satisfaction. So let's try this on for at least discussion point. If you have, let's go back. I'm going to take the forward direct motion Chiron first. If you have a normal Chiron in your chart, then you are going to experience this theme or a couple of themes of recurring wounds throughout your lifetime that are areas that are going to show up that were brought from the past for the purpose of resolving in this lifetime. And it's basically going to be something that will follow you all the way through, and you'll just keep evolving with it. That's normal. And you might ask the question, can we ever resolve our Chiron? Yes, I think you absolutely can. Now, if you do, it might reform itself and come back in another way to peel another layer off of the onion. But sure, keep peeling. If that Chiron is retrograde, then that is a deeper area in your life. It was a deeper wound, or deeper wounds, plural. And the deeper the wound, the more powerful the healing potential. So you and I might have the opportunity to revisit the wound a few more times than quote-unquote normal. It might repeat more often. We might have to be a little more thorough in our releasing But as this process unfolds over literally decades, but then we can look back and realize that wound is now resolved. We can take that back to the karmic ethers after we leave this earth, and we can mark that one checked off. Have you ever worked with a trainer at the gym, and normally, let's say you were going to do some work with a 10-pound weight, but they come around with these cuffs or whatever that they strap on, and now it's a 15-pound weight? They add weight to the normal bar. That's kind of the idea here. A little more pain initially for much longer-term gain. And here's where the cool part lies, I think, is then on the other side. And the audiobook that I narrated for Fred called Lives of the Soul makes this so clear that when you reconstruct your next incarnation, maybe even you come back with that area as a strength in your chart and not this recurring wound. Does that make sense? I think it plays. Gives us hope, too, doesn't it? And we can all apply that to the Chirons in our own life because, as Steve Forrest said, well, we have the choice of whether we're going to deal with it and how. Oh, I love you guys. Have a wonderful Thursday. See you back tomorrow for TGI Friday.